Hello, my name is Malcolm Hilarion. I have a BFA in New Media Arts, and I'm gonna just start explaining to you exactly why the media literacy crisis is as bad as it is. And so I'm gonna start with one of the pieces of media that started my analysis of things. So, the image on screen is Guernica by Pablo Picasso. This is my first experience with direct documentation of a war crime. Basically, the Spanish Civil War was going on, and so the government that was in power and the government that was trying to take power were basically duking it out for many years at this point, and the rebel faction had garnered support from Mustache Man, because this was in 19, if I'm not mistaken, 37. So yeah, Mustache Man, and we all know which Mustache Man I'm talking about, the one from Germany. That Mustache Man lent them support, and so this image is essentially a documentation of the test run for the German Blitzkrieg. This is Pablo Picasso's documentation of what the Blitzkrieg did after 2 hours of bombing Guernica. That was the name of the town. It was a region in Basque. And I bring this up because, as a person who has been force fed decades worth of art in the span of like 5 years, counting COVID, I can say a few things. Media as a whole has never been apolitical. There is almost always a profit incentive for misleading someone. And if you pay attention to that profit incentive, you can see how they manipulate the masses using media and the lack of media literacy to garner support for campaigns that, at their root, are inhumane, while masquerading around the world as the international police and peacekeeping force, and creating this idealized version of the actions that we take. And I say we as America, the country, around the world. The actions that America takes around the world reflect on us, not necessarily directly, but without fail, that always will come back on us because we live here. And so, altogether, this image speaks to the pattern of power, corruption, and dehumanization, creating the circumstances necessary for people to vote and or lobby against their own self-interest because they quite literally do not know the proper verbiage for their own self-interests. So I want people to reminisce on things a little bit more nowadays, because we're well past the point where I can say we're running out of time. If July 4th wasn't any indication, we're past the point of running out of time. So, I would like those who are willing to learn. Because there are lessons to be learned from things that aren't necessarily based in fact, that came years before now. you don't necessarily have to read them as true to fiction or true to form or as a blueprint, but you can take the ideas and see how the similarities line up, and then using context clues, critical thinking, and maybe just weaving together a couple of these larger stories from the news that you've taken a second to think on, you can go, we're getting to the point where this is going to be irreversible. So I'm doing what I can while I can, because I had to take some time away to kind of reformat how I want to approach this. So, to get back to this piece of art here, art has always been a social action. The job of, at least in my opinion, one of the biggest jobs of an artist is to be able to hold up a mirror to the society that they exist within. That's number one. But number two, approaching the sublime and putting it in ways, and approaching the sublime, internalizing it, and distilling it into a form that people can take a moment to reckon with, I feel is the second one. And when I say sublime, I don't mean the band, hee hee ha ha. I don't mean when I say the sublime, I mean feelings, experiences, or sights that go beyond words. That's not good, bad, that could be anything. And when I say sublime in this case, I mean an inescapable, or not inescapable, but indescribable amount of human suffering that's being compressed via the format and or painting style that Picasso used. And due to that, he's able to incorporate so many different aspects of the loss that is here that you can take days studying this, because for context, this is not a mural built on or painted on a wall. This is on a wall-sized canvas. This is 11 by 25 feet, that is. So there are many aspects of this that are flattened even from his skill with cubism. However, the flattening is to ensure that every facet of this is documented, because those that were lost and or maimed and or traumatized deserve to have their stories represented equivalently, or just as much as anyone else who went through this tragedy. And that was in the 30s, back when half of the population damn near didn't have rights. So if they were making this commentary back then, and we have the 365,000 bajillion degree panopticon that's seeing these events from every angle, why is the humanity still up for debate? That's my question to leave y'all with.